I was in transit at the airport a couple of days ago, and I was on a video call, and the South African white woman heard. It was like, "Are you from South Africa?" And I'm like, "Yes." And it sparked some courage from the guy next to me, who's Afro-Brazilian, to then talk to me about the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. And he was saying to me that, to a certain degree, South Africans are right by protecting their country, because he's been out of Brazil for about 30 years, and his favorite place to live in the world is in Scandinavian countries because the government looks after its people. He told me a story how these countries in the early 80s and 90s took in Somalian and Ethiopian refugees under the pretense of refugee status, but they also wanted to boost their citizenry because they were having a population problem. But they soon grew to regret it because it made their countries more violent. So there was a rapid increase in gang violence and some murders and theft, and it just completely changed the society. And that's why you see the immigration policies the way you see them today. But unfortunately, these Scandinavian countries are now stuck because in 2025 right now you have like third generation Somalians and Ethiopians in the Scandinavian countries. So when I got still, I actually did go and look it up, and it says that countries like Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands mainly started receiving large numbers of Somali refugees in the late 1980s and especially in the 1990s after the collapse of the Somalian government and the start of the Somalian civil war in 1999. Small numbers of Somalians first arrived in 1960 as student workers. Refugee arrivals began in 1980s, and the biggest wave came in 1991 and in the 2000s. Then I did a graph about just to check the gang-related crime, because that's the one thing that he was talking about. And you can see from 2001 to 2015 how it gradually changed. And when he was talking, he was like, it became so bad that in Norway, specifically where he was, the people in Norway had to migrate out of the sections where the Ethiopians and the Somalians were living and to what they now call the north in that specific country, to try to try to get away from the norm that was then in those communities, because they came from civil war and violence, and they brought that with them. And that's the other element of the conversation that we currently having, is that the people that come into our country do come with different ways of being and living.